Okay, streaming live on Facebook. Awesome.
All right, everybody. Welcome to How to Build Your Personal Brand, How to Build a Personal Brand for 2024. We hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving holiday and are ready to hit the last 32 days of 2023, which is just kind of insane to think about. So with this particular webinar here, we're here today to talk about your personal brand, what it is that you're known for, and really how to get that set up so that you can be known for whatever you want to get hired for, be known in your industry overall as a thought leader, and everything in between, which helps you get clients, get hired, and so forth. And to help us understand what a personal brand looks like in 2023 and going into next year, we're bringing in Jonai Iqbal. He's a LinkedIn top voice. He's also part of our job seeker boot camps where he helps folks write resumes, and he's the founder of nodegree.com. And so you'll hear from him in a moment here. And with me as well is Elisa Huang. She's a moderator and also one of our boot camp coordinators here at List. And I'm really excited to have her here too. So without further ado, Jonai, I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to you. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Awesome. So I'm going to start sharing my slides, and I really want to emphasize that I want to make this as interactive as possible. So if any of you have any questions that you want to share, please put them in the chat. And I'm going to be actively monitoring the chat, and Elisa will help me out with this. So I want you to think about, let's go into what is personal branding, right? We need to have and we need to understand what it is. And let's think about the world's biggest brands, right? The Nikes, the Apples, the Coca-Cola, the McDonald's, Google's, Amazon's, and Disney's. What do people think about, right? Like what comes to their mind? And then you have to really think about, when it comes to personal branding, what do people think about when they think about you? What do people associate with you? Right? Like depending on what you do they know, are you known for what you do, or are you known for something else? And again, how I would define personal branding is your reputation at scale. And having a reputation at scale will open you up to a lot of opportunities. It'll open you up to a lot of introductions, and it'll give you flexibility to get into very competitive areas. And let me just check the chat. And the recording will be available later. And for those of you who are joining us, please take the poll. Elisa, any comments or questions?
Yeah, no, I think that was a great kickoff to like, what is personal brand, right? Because sometimes it can seem very daunting. It's like, I'm not starting a business. Like, why do I need a personal brand? I have a stable job. I'm supporting my family and I have a good reputation at work. So why spend all this time and energy towards building a brand? And we have seen this huge shift because Janiyat and I work with a lot of career job searchers, and there's just been a ton of requests recently for, I need help with branding. And it's kind of why we launched the poll. We wanted to see where everyone's at. For a lot of people, it's like, I just don't really know. I need help figuring out what my personal brand is. Like, I know I'm good at 4 to 5 skill sets, but I don't really know what that means or how I can simplify that for when I meet new contacts or just people at work. Secondly, probably the second one that I think Janiyat and I hear the most is like, my personal brand and my professional job clash. So it's not a seamless fit. Like, what I want to be known for is not what I'm really good at and getting paid to do. I mean, that's always tough, but that's kind of a reality for a lot of people. So Janiyat and I are here to like demystify that. And then secondly is like, I have a business and I just need to know how to build my personal brand because I'm planning on using it to amplify my service. And we can help you. We have a 2-part series starting next week. We can help you answer all of those. And you're not alone. And these are all very valid questions. So if you have specifics towards that, feel free to also like ping those in chat, and we'll have a live Q&A session after that just to answer it.
Yeah, and to piggyback off that, even if you have a stable job, even if you have that, think about all the big companies. All the big companies have done layoffs. So a lot of people think about job security. And the fact is, I've known people who've worked at companies 10, 15, 20 years who've gotten laid off, and now they feel like they're starting from zero. And they really don't, they have an identity crisis because their identity has been tied to this company. But the fact is, we are more than our companies. And the other thing is, even if you have a stable job, it's always good to have conversations because you never know what other opportunities may be out there for you. I used to have a completely different career that a lot of people don't even know about, and I've been able to pivot. And then life changes, maybe your interests change, maybe you have a different, your goals change and all that, and you want to have flexibility. A personal brand. Okay, so I'm gonna share the slideshow format. Give me 1 second. So you can see the whole screen. Okay, awesome. So now some people, let's kind of go into the next slide. So first we have to think about what sets us apart. And regardless of who we are, we have some unique skills, we have some strengths that set us apart. You really have to think about that. And the beauty is that it could be your industry that sets you apart, that you may be a programmer or software developer, but you focus on the healthcare industry. So that's a part of your personal brand. It could be something that you do outside of work, right? Like Albert is known for Albert's List, and this is completely different from his day job. So that's part of his personal brand. And same thing, Elisa, her day job is different from what she does. But the other thing is it can amplify it and give you more credibility. It can supplement it. So it's all about understanding how it fits together for you. The other thing you have to realize is, who are you developing this personal brand for? Try to think about your goals. And I always say that your personal brand should resonate with your core audience. Like, who is your core audience? And your core audience could be a group of employers. It could be, if you have a company, it could be your potential customers. Hey, if you want, or it could be a select group of people who have certain titles because they're the ones who are making the hiring decisions. So you really have to think about who you're developing it for. And we have a question from Kelly, who says that it's been a real challenge. A lot of people see you as your old career in nonprofit management. Now, here's one thing. Some people may see you that, but if once you start developing a personal brand and you start furthering it, just realize that understanding grant writing, I've seen a lot of people use those grant writing skills to talk to other people. That just realize that there are a lot, like, you're in the nonprofit sector. So if Kelly, if you want to give some more specific, I'm more than happy to walk you through how to move away from that brand, or how to use those skill sets to amplify your brands. Because just realize that being a grant writer, a lot of people in high positions, they're on the boards of nonprofits. Having those conversations with those people can help you become closer with them and develop a relationship with these people who can help further that brand. Elisa, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree there. It seems like when you're in the professional space, you're seen as an expert in one area, like, and especially if you've been in the industry for a long time, it's really hard for people to stop seeing you that way. And I still deal with it, right? Especially if you're trying to create your own personal brand, but you totally can do that, whether you keep those two markets siloed, like the target market you're trying to reach with your personal brand, while still keeping your professional persona intact. There's totally a way to do it. Just have to put a little effort into it. And Janai is going to go into specifics in the workshop.
Yeah. So Philip, you mentioned, how do I promote my brand? So in order for me to give you a good answer, do you mind sharing what is your brand, so that I could give you a better idea? Just because some brands work better on different platforms, you don't necessarily need ads. Ads are, I wouldn't necessarily recommend ads unless you had a product or a service. I would say you want to focus a little more on being organic, because you want to think about a sustainable things. One of the issues with ads is you're always dependent on ads. And again, ads have their pros and cons, but in general, I tell people to have, you want to have consistency. So Philip, if you don't mind sharing what is your brand, I'm more than happy to give you a more specific answer. And Kelly, you mentioned, okay, cool. Kelly, can you give me a little more info into where do you want to go? I think it's always important. So a lot of people are asking questions. I always say it's very important to understand where it is you want to end up. And so Philip said, I started a company that gives me a nice passive income that runs itself. I just want to start a business in something new that focuses on your passion. Awesome, Philip. So what is that passion that you want to start your business in? Because, and for those of you who are starting businesses where you're really passionate about something, I would really recommend joining communities where you can support that passion. So let's say you're a creative, joining communities, Slack channel, Discord groups of other creators. If you are, you want to be in a certain industry, joining Facebook groups, Discord communities of that industry, because then you'll start connecting with other people in that industry. You'll connect on a passion of yours, and then you'll start getting yourself out there, and you'll talk with the right people. One thing that I will say is, Kelly, you mentioned that you have trouble breaking out of this grant writer thing, and then that goes to the power of consistency, that you've been a grant writer for a while, so that's why it's hard to get out of it. So now the other thing is you have to do something else consistently so that people associate you with something else. So so you started a few groups that became quite big, and you can't make money off it, and you want to scale it. So what I would say, before you scale it, I would figure out a way to make money. And then one way to make money is either through advising, through consulting, through a product. That's one way, because if you have a big group, that means there must be interest. And some of those people in that group, they want more customized or advice. So I would think that you have the option of consulting with members in that group. And Kelly said, a program management role in healthcare innovation at a stable, large company. To do really well in cross-functional roles and navigate large organizations more nimbly than my colleagues. So that's awesome. So, and the beauty is that you mentioned that you worked at Meta. So again, just realize that if any of you have worked at big companies, those companies give a big boost to your personal brand because they give you some sort of credibility. Elisa, do you want to add something?
Yeah, I mean, I think those are all good tips. It's hard to craft your story in kind of a focused approach, and most times when you're interviewing, and especially when you meet like new contacts who could be potential referrals at your dream companies, there isn't like an hour to like deep dive into your background. So again, thank you, Kelly and Philip, just for being really interactive in the chat. But I definitely think like we'd love to have you sign up for the workshop, because that's where we're going to go over a lot of like the live workshopping for like when it comes to your brand, like how specifically can we like help sharpen that message. That's what it's going to really tackle, and just how to do it succinctly. But and then the two part would be how to do that via LinkedIn and some other external channels effectively, something you can just like continually flex on a routine, like a muscle, like doing exercise, if you will. So I know Junaid has a lot of content, so I just want him to be able to get to it, but we definitely will save time at the end to answer questions. And for others, like feel free to like pop in your questions as well on chat, and I'll make sure Junaid gets to it.
Yeah, awesome. And just for everyone, and Kelly specifically, is that just realize that you always gain transferable skills regardless of what you do. That too many people think that just because I did X, that I can only do X. But because you did X, that means you've gained some transferable skills, which translate to different areas, and figure out what in those areas, how it translates. Right? That how you as a grant writer, why do you make a good program manager? You know how to lay out things, you know how to work with others. So you want to really think about that. Now, the other thing is, when you're thinking about a personal brand, always try to think about how you can add value. And the way I describe value is, how do you make someone's lives easier? How do you make someone's life easier? And how do you solve a problem that they have? Right? If your brand is surrounded by a problem, by fixing a problem that someone has, they're more likely to reach out to you, they're more likely to resonate with you, they're more likely to follow you, and they're more likely to remember you. The other thing that I would say is, part of the personal brand is you really want to put yourself out there. And there are different ways of putting yourself out there. There's obviously in person, and I would really recommend that, where you're in person at these networking groups, especially if you're in a big city. There are a lot of these, and this is a great way where you can have conversations, where you can follow up. Right? Networking events are really, really underrated. And one of the reasons I'm actually in Vancouver right now, I'm in Vancouver because I met someone on LinkedIn who started a community, and someone in that community became my client. And then I met someone else on Twitter who has 1.9 million YouTube subs. I met him, and she ended up organizing the conference for that person, that YouTuber. So that's the beauty, is that once you start really doing this, that you take this in person, you meet people online, and you really take it to the next level, right? That my personal brand on LinkedIn and my personal brand on Twitter, and combining both of them has allowed me speaking opportunities. I've met both Elisa and Albert in person, and I met them through, funny enough, I met Elisa through someone on Reddit. So just realize that regardless of where you go, if you really go out there and you really try to help people and put your name out there, you'll get connected, and you don't know how these connections will manifest. Now, the other thing that I'll tell you is once you're really networking, you want to combine the offline and online. So I met Albert in person. I took him to a taco truck, the best taco truck in Queens. And again, you see how like I met him online, I had them, and then now Albert said, hey, I'm gonna meet him on the West Coast one of these days. But that's the power of really putting yourself out there. And I've had hundreds, if not thousands, of those interactions. So you really want to combine the offline and online, and then it's really gonna take you to, and it's gonna give you opportunities. And it's so powerful that I got a job off a tweet in an area that I've never worked in, because I said, hey, would someone take a chance on me? I got another job off my LinkedIn profile, was I helped the company with their LinkedIn presence. And both of these were both fully remote jobs, and they were the highest paying jobs that I've ever had at the time, and they were relatively easy. Again, that's the power, that even if you want a job, it really opens up a lot of opportunity. If you have services, by having a personal brand, you can charge more. Like, for example, I'm a resume writer, and I help people with that. It's like there are a lot of resume writers who charge low. I charge significantly more. I charge well over the $500 mark, but part of that is because I have a personal brand and I have a good reputation for helping people, and then that allows me to get referrals. That allows people who, people will tell me, hey, you weren't necessarily the cheapest, but I saw your portfolio, and I trust you the most. So what happens is, when you have a strong personal brand, people trust you more, that you're not having to prove yourself as much. You're getting conversations much more easily. So you really want to do this, because you're going to be able to get intros to people, and you're going to get opportunities that you normally would not have access to. Elisa, what do you want to add?
Yeah, I think those are all great points. It's kind of like, I mean, and Albert will know this more, like, because I work in sales and marketing, we always talk about the omni-channel approach, which is combining the offline and the online interactions. So it's no different than like marketing yourself, which is like how you are in person and what you write, the content you put on, and how you are online. It's all one seamless brand. So that's why it's so important to like figure out like what you want to portray yourself as, keep it very simple. And then anyone you meet, you tell them that same thing. And also just want to level set, like Junaid's super modest, but he's done an incredible job building his persona online, like through various platforms, right? Like most notably in LinkedIn, but it didn't just happen overnight. Like he writes a ton of meaningful comments. He like builds a strong community online, but so just like, I know most people want vanity metrics, they want that brand overnight, but it takes time. And so we're here to like support you during that journey to get started, so that you can keep going on your own, post the workshop series. So just putting that out there, because I know most people, like before they even get started, they're like, well, I just want to get to here. And then when they start, they stop the whole branding process because they're not seeing the results. And it's not something where you just do it, you turn on, and like overnight you're a sensation.
So Philip asked a great question. He said, is developing your personal brand the same as doing content marketing using blogs? I would say developing your personal brand is similar, but developing your personal brand would be content marketing using social media platforms for your personal self. Because content marketing typically with blogs grows the blog, but I have seen people use it. So just realize that a lot of other marketing concepts will stay the same, but some will be a little bit different. So great question, Philip. And Tori said something, great reminder to go out and be human and connect people with share passions. I think so many people forget that it's about being genuine. That one of the best compliments that I receive when I go meet people in person for the first time is, you're exactly who I expected you to be. That there are a lot of people who build up these fake personas. Now, you don't have to share everything, but you also don't have to build this fake profile and be someone you're not. And one thing that I want to say is, especially online, people do business with people. Right? If you see a lot of these company profiles, they don't tend to do as well on LinkedIn and Twitter. There are actual individual accounts that do a lot better. So you really want to connect with people on a human level. You want to connect deeper, right? You don't necessarily want to be shallow. And then Albert is mentioning that I have over 40,000 followers on LinkedIn. And again, it's one of those things that I know ways to grow faster, but I chose to grow in an authentic way to build a strong brand and not focus on vanity metrics as much. There are ways to get a lot of likes, but I focus on building true relationships that lead to opportunity and that allow me to connect with great people who are looking to make a difference. Like, I want to do things the right way, because here's one thing that you want to be careful about, that on LinkedIn, you only have one profile. So if you grow the wrong way, what happens is you're stuck with that you want to grow in an authentic way, and you want to build relationships so that your followers actually know who you are, know what you stand for. And the other thing about personal brands, I think for TikTok, out of the top 100 accounts, only a handful of accounts, I think over 90, are just individual people, right? And you have to realize that companies reach out to people, right? They reach out to people who have followings to get sponsored. Think about it. They're using influencers, they're using UGC because people relate to people more, because people are kind of tired of the old model of ads. And the beauty is, Elisa says it, you don't need 1 million followers. Even getting 1,000 of the right engaged connections can absolutely change your life. So now let's go into the benefits of personal branding. So regardless of what you're doing, you will be able to benefit. So career development, right? That even within a personal brand, if you're known as, hey, this is the person that's a very good software engineer who develops good finance applications. This is a person who's a very good designer for this industry. Now, business growth, that one thing I will say is a lot of people offer the same services. How do you set yourself apart? Why do people go to you? Why do people, why do people trust you? That if you have two people, who are you going to pay a premium for? Someone with no brand or someone with a personal brand? Who are you more likely to refer to? These are other benefits. The other thing that I'll say is personal relationships. Like, Elisa and Albert are actually good friends of mine, right? That when they come to New York, they come see me. When I go to their areas, I come see them. They've helped me in certain situations. I've helped them in certain situations. Just realize that you meet a lot of good, genuine people along the way, that I've met lifelong friendships. And that's the other benefit of a personal brand, that people will trust you. And then you can also, do that for others. I have learned so much from building a personal brand. I get conversations with people who are really busy, and they share insights that I would normally have to pay hundreds, if not thousands of dollars for. People have given me advice. People have told me, hey, I've paid $15,000 for this course. I'm more than happy to share the info that I've learned. So the other benefit of a personal brand, even if you don't care about any other things, you just learn. That you learn about niche industries, you learn about niche topics, and who knows where it may take you. That regardless of what you're using a personal brand for, it's going to move you forward in some capacity. It'll move you forward at least one, and if you do it right, it'll move you forward in all of them. And Eric said something, and I view a brand as what people say about a product or service when they're speaking freely. And you are 100% right. Now, here's one thing about a personal brand. You don't control your personal brand. I don't control it. Elisa has an opinion of me. Albert has an opinion of me. I don't control it. I can influence it by showing up as something. So that's what a personal brand is. What are people's perceptions of you? That when you're not in the room, what do people think about you? Do they refer you to opportunity? Do they have good things to say about you? Do they say the things that you want to say about them? Because that's the thing about a brand. Companies don't control a brand. That if there's a negative orientation, some brands have that. Some brands have very good orientation. So that's what you really want to think about. So Eric, that's a very good thing. And Albert mentioned a good thing, that when you go somewhere new, you got to know and meet locals. And that's the other thing is, like, one of the things is that when I go travel, I know someone in every city and I can ask them. Yes, I can go on TripAdvisor, but I always like asking a local. So it's all that. Uh, and I'm glad, and Kelly said, I don't care about number of followers, and I think that's the right way to go about. Like, followers are cool and all, but it's like, what are those quality followers? And I'm gonna tell you, I've known people who I know someone who has only 6,000 followers. They got a $600,000 contract with a company because they were known for the right things. That, especially depending on your product or service, knowing 1 to 3 of the right people can absolutely change your business. Elisa, anything you want to add?
No, I totally agree with that. I mean, just like I even take a more simplified approach. Just pick one thing that you want to be known for. And then just like continually like amplify that message. And honestly, like this might be a good exercise for everyone to go through. I went through something similar a while back. It's just like talk to or build your own little like professional board, like people, not your like friends and family who it might be hard for them to tell you the truth, but just like 4 or 5 people that you used to work with or like you work with in a professional capacity, and say like, hey, I'm just curious, like what do you think my brand is, or like what, like unaided, what's things that you think I'm known for, and like see across those 5 people what they say. Like, so I'm looking at the poll, and what's the biggest challenge for most people is figuring out what my personal brand should be. And so instead of you like trying to spend a ton of time to do the research, just like phone a friend and do your own internal research. Like, well, what do people already think about me, right? Whether, and someone might be like, you bring people together and you always know a lot of people. So then maybe your brand is you're a community organizer, you're a connector or something like that. So oftentimes it's just like, get a sense for what other people are already feeling about you, and then you just amplify that. That's kind of a more natural free form approach. This is for like people that are in their corporate jobs that are trying to balance their personal brand with their professional job, as well as figuring out what your personal brand should be. Now, if you're an entrepreneur and you have a specific service and you're trying to build your personal brand to grow that, your business, that's kind of a different angle, because it would require you to like align closely to like what it is. So like, for example, if it's an eco-friendly brand, then you'd want to share content and show that you're committed to the environment, or like what's driving this passion of yours to start the business, and then sharing that content regularly. So those are all things we go over in the workshop, because I know we have limited time today, but there's like so many different ways to go about this in like 1 to 3 steps, so that it's not super hard for you to like continually do this. 5 things you should do weekly to grow it. And it's the time to start is always now. It's never too late.
Yeah. How much time do you have left?
I know we had technical difficulties, so it's supposed to be 6 to 7. So I was thinking like we would still probably hold on to the 7
Okay.
time period, just to be respectful for folks. But if you have, specific questions, it looks like we might go till 7:30. Like for those that are still online, like feel free to pop it in the chat and we can always refer to it. And I know, Junaid might have some other items to share as well, but I'll be monitoring the chat.
Yeah, awesome. So someone mentioned that, I think it was Philip, and you mentioned that I'm bad with people. So the other thing that I'll tell you is, a personal brand is a great way to kind of challenge yourself and kind of go outside. And the beauty is that you are smart in your little market. Now, having a personal brand in your little market means you end up being the go-to person, right? The go-to person that gets referrals, that gets conversations, that gets in front of other people. And just like anything, like a personal brand is something that is not necessarily built in one day. It's a skill, right? You can build it over time, and good brands take time to build. And I love that example of someone who brought their resume to a hiring manager, right, inside a box of donuts. Like, again, you have to do things to stand out, and one of the ways to stand out are those little things, and having a personal brand does that. And Eric said an amazing thing. Most people forget what you say, but they remember how you make them feel. And that personal brand is that perpetual feeling that people have when they think about you. And the beauty of a personal brand is these are people who may have never met you, who only see you online, yet they associate you with something. So Smita said, I'm told you're great with people, helping them, bringing people together. Apart from those attributes helping, how can I build a personal brand with those qualities? So I'm going to tell you that one of the things that I built a personal brand for is, and I've seen someone else that I know, is they're known as a connector, that you're the person that brings people together. That itself is a personal brand, because when you bring people together, they remember you, right? And then you get the credit. So if I introduce Elisa to someone who helps her get a job, Elisa will still have a positive view of me. Same thing, if Elisa helps introduce me to someone, I'm the connector. Like, I ended up connecting Elisa and my friend, right? Elisa's helping out my friend with something, but I'm the mutual connection. So that is something that you can do. And then the other thing is, when you have a personal brand and you help others, that is associated with your brand, that you're seen as someone who, is there to support others. And people will remember, when you have nothing to gain personally, that if you keep going out there and helping people, they're going to trust you. Part of building a personal brand is that trust.
Yeah. Let me pop
Yeah,
in the chat real quick, because I'm seeing some great interactions, which, by the way, thank you all for staying on. I know it's a Wednesday night, it's post Thanksgiving, so we will power through this. We might even end a little bit early just to give time back. But Tori said, yes, I mentioned a consistent story. So I want to share a quick story. So a while back, I was working in banking, and I heard from one of the executives that said, like, they wanted to be a CMO. And so it's funny because I heard her say it to me, to our CEO, to other C-suite executives. And it was in a more refined approach, but it was less than 10 seconds. It was, I've been passionate about X for Y number of years. And that's why my goal is to be CMO, to drive change through a whatever, right? It was very eloquently articulated, but what I remember from her is, okay, she wants a CMO job. That's what she wants. And this was something, like, when I talked to other people in the company, other people knew this too. And so it was a very unabashed way of, like, sharing, like, what's your goal, what's your story, what you'd want to be known as, which for this person, it was, I want to be known as a strong CMO leader. I want to be a future CMO, and I have the experience to back it up. This was something that was communicated top down. Anyone that talked to her knew this. And so I thought that was a really powerful story, because, like, up until then in my career, I'd never really seen anyone do that, to where if you put like 10 of the people coming together, they would all tell you the same story about what this person's looking for and what they're wanting to do. And, like, I mean, the title that they want, which is all the way to the top. And so a lot of times, like, self-advocacy, I would say, is hard, especially in a big company, because, like, you go through performance review and, like, maybe you verbalize to your manager, like, I want my personal brand to be this. I want this job. You have that conversation maybe like twice a year, and your manager, who manages probably 9 people, are like, okay, that's cool. They note it. But, like, realistically, it's really hard to support the ambitions of multiple folks. So it's up to everyone to drive your own career, side hustle, solopreneur journey. And I would just say, like, if you take away one thing from this, it's like, don't be shy to, like, advocate for yourself. Like, tell people what you want. Hey, I need this. This is what I'm looking for. Do that to, like, 5 people that you meet this week, right? Assuming you know what you want your brand is. Like, I have experience in this, and I'm looking to get into profit management. And then just continue. Like, it has to be something that you really feel confident saying, right? Like, I mean, it's just like in sales, you have to really believe in what you're selling. And so what you're selling is essentially the digital brand, or the brand of you. And so however you want to communicate it, like 1 to 2 sentences, practice it, say that to 5 people, and see how it feels. So that's one thing. And then the second thing is I already mentioned it, so I'll probably keep repeating it because I really want people to do this, which is go to 5 people, not your friends and family, people you've worked with or maybe currently work with, and ask them like, hey, what, like when you think of me, like, what do you think of? Like, what's my brand? Like, what do you think I'm good at? And some people might be like, oh, you're always on time, or like you bring people together. Seems like you're really good with data, or whatever it is. And it might be in line with or totally different from what you want your personal brand to be. But if you don't know where to start, I would say just pull from those existing feelings or perceptions of what people think you are, especially if you're okay with going in that direction. And that's easier than you coming and sitting and thinking about it if you don't know where to start.
Yeah. So in the workshop, we're also going to go over scaling your personal brand, because what happens is after a certain time, like my friend is building a personal brand, and I think she's at like 4,000 followers on Twitter. And now it's like, hey, how do I manage this? How do I get more people who are reaching out? Because what ends up happening is, especially a lot of you with businesses and all that, you end up getting busy. You end up getting a lot more requests, right? And it's like, at some point, how do you increase your prices? How do you still maintain that brand without feeling like you're letting someone down? But how do you respect your time, right? Because we grow a personal brand because we want to grow professionally, we want to move up, but we also want to have time for the right things, whether it's time, free time, or whether we're going to have time to scale ourselves to the next level. So we'll also go over like the things that I've done to essentially multiply out yourself while still maintaining an authentic and genuine brand, and still being to help out and serve those who you want to serve out. Now, some of the strategies that we're going to cover is like scaling your networking efforts, that there's only one of you, but how do you get yourself out there? That how do you connect with people? How do you still maintain that? And how are what are the sustainable networking strategies? Because what happens to a lot of people is they keep on doing this. And I've seen a lot of people, they grow their personal brand and then they just burn out and they don't go back into it because it just gets them so much anxiety. So we're going to go over like how do you maintain sustainable networking? Because here's the reality that, especially a lot of you with companies, these are things that you want to be, you want to think about, hey, how do I maintain this for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years? Right? And then we'll also go into how do you maintain content creation, because content creation is its own thing that scales your personal brand and supports it. So we'll go into how do and there are different types of content creations, like whether you create short form, like onto TikTok, YouTube Shorts, Instagram Reels, whether you create a podcast long term, like I have a podcast, whether you create written context, text content, live streaming content. These are all different ways, and they can all impact you in different ways. And then someone mentioned, Asmita mentioned, why is it not okay to ask friends what happens? Oh, I'm going to tell you, the thing is your friends know you and they have a bias of you. They actually know too much of you, whereas someone online, someone in a networking event, they don't know you, right? And so your friend is going to remember you. But let's say you went to a networking event and then these people met you for the first time. What is that perception of you? Or these people see you casually. So you want to be a little biased, because sometimes if you ask someone's mom and they'll be like, yeah, Lisa's the best. But if you ask some other people, they may have a different view. So sometimes you want to have like that, the third person view, because here's the fact, you're not going to do business with your friends, right? Friends are not a sustainable source of business. Your friends and family, you have to go outside your friends and family. You have to use a channel. You have to be online. You have to market yourself out there. And that's where the personal brand comes in. So that's something that you want to know. Yeah, and sustainability is a challenge without an assistant. And, I can tell you how I have a team, but even without a team, what are some things that you can do to, multiply out yourself? And building your genuine relationships is the essence of networking. How do you manage life around content creation? And I'll tell you, content creation can be a job in of itself. So in this workshop, we'll go into like repurposing and how you manage it and how you keep it sustainable, because there are ways to be effective with content that you're spending, a little amount of, you're spending a certain amount of time, and it helps you create content maybe for the week or the month. Lisa, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I was just about to type a response. I just saw Tamara's question. And so in the workshop, Junaid, who is a powerhouse branding expert, he's gonna kind of like pull back the curtain of how he does branding. Because like, I mean, to his credit, I think he's done an amazing job at doing it and just authentically communicating to his community. But he does have a lot of support as well, just like, you know, whether it's AI or like support teams that are helping him like expedite that process, right? Because like it would be great to be a jack of all trades, but he knows where his strengths are. And for like areas of weakness or like areas, he's just like, you know, I could do it, but I would burn through 3 hours of doing it. Like outsourcing a lot of that is perfectly okay, as well as leveraging AI to fine tune some of the ideas you might have.
Yeah, and then the one thing that I'll say is the beauty is you don't have to be everywhere at once. I always say that some people have brands only on Twitter, some people only have brands on TikTok, some people only have brands on LinkedIn. So you don't necessarily need to be everywhere. And then we'll go into how to set up content for different platforms, because you'll see a lot of people, they're on YouTube, but they don't know how to do TikTok. Or they're on TikTok, they don't know how to do YouTube. So we'll go into how the different platforms have a different language. And once you understand the different platforms, especially when you're in the beginning, you may choose to start out on a different platform. Different platforms are different, and they have different learning curves. Some are easier than others, some are easier for certain types of people. So we'll go into the pros and cons and who I recommend for each platform. We'll also go into some of the most important things is how do you monetize? And there are different ways. There are workshops, there are services, there's speaking engagements, there are partnerships, charging more. I think one of the biggest things of personal branding is you can charge more for your services. I know people who don't even have good services, but because they have strong personal brands, they're able to charge 2 to 3x as much compared to other experts who don't necessarily have that personal brand. So these are things that we're going to go into. And Eric said an amazing thing. You do have to be open to failure and having a growth mindset. I've pivoted several times. I've done different things. I have failed in some ways. And I take feedback and I learn, right? There are some things that I would do differently. And it's a journey, it's a process. And we're not going to tell you that, hey, you're going to start a personal brand in 1 week and you're going to have all this, and you're going to have all this money. We're very realistic in that it's going to take time, but we care about the long term and we care about doing it the right way, so that when you keep doing it, that you have an asset for yourself that opens you up to so many possibilities. The other thing that we really want to really dive into is we want to go into saying no. Sometimes part of your personal brand is saying no. And one of the things is when you're online, there's always a new idea. Hey, you got to do this new product. You got to do this new service. There's just new trends you got to follow. And part of that personal brand is, what do you say yes to? What do you say no to? Saying no to things is not turning down opportunity. It's saying yes to the right opportunity. It's saying yes to yourself. It's saying yes to the things that work for you. Yeah. And so I'm going to go into like how to avoid that shiny object syndrome, because again, it's so easy to get caught up in things. But again, we care about your long-term growth. We want it to be sustainable. And what are the different ways and all that? Lisa, what do you want to add?
No, yeah, no, I totally agree there. It's just like there's so many things. I mean, like especially when you start growing your brand and you are reaching audiences at scale, like you could be invited to do a lot of different things, like be on my podcast, like speak at this thing, just like be cognizant of like, okay, so but is this in line with my brand, or is this like aligning with like, you know, where I'm looking to grow? Because whatever you sign up to do, you're expending energy to do it, and that might detract from like what you want your brand to be. So just like you said, being like thoughtful and intentional about how you grow your brand, right? Because there's so many different ways that Junaid could have grown his brand, but just in understanding his community and like who he wants to support, he did it in a very thoughtful way. So he's going to dive more into that in the workshop, which I think is going to be helpful for some folks, especially when you get started.
Yeah. And Tina said you don't understand Twitter, aka X. The good thing is you don't necessarily need to build a personal brand. You don't need to understand Twitter, aka X. The one thing that I'll tell you, regardless of all social platforms, the key is every social platform has different communities. So on Twitter, I'm part of the tech Twitter community. And the event I'm at is from a lot of people who are active on Twitter. So just, it's really about the communities that you involve yourselves on social media. And you have to really think about what it makes sense. And the beauty is, I'm going to tell you that all types of people are on all types of platforms. Like TikTok has an older audience. Like my friend has a TikTok, his audience is 35 plus. Whereas you would think, oh, it's only young kids. My audience is above 25 on TikTok. So you really have to think about certain things. And I'm more than happy to go into like some of the different platforms. And Twitter is actually a hard platform to gain traction on. So now let's go over into the 2-week personal branding bootcamp. Like we just touched the surface and we gave a lot of info, but there's a lot of details that you just cannot share in an hour-long, Zoom call. So we're gonna have a 2-week personal branding bootcamp, and here are the things we're gonna cover just for 2024. And we're gonna give you modern techniques because online has gotten more competitive. A lot of platforms have gotten more competitive. So you're going to have to do a little more to stand out. So it's like, how do you stand out? Right? There's so like, regardless of your business, regardless of what you sell, what makes you the go-to person? What makes people associate that with you? We're going to go into how do you create that message? And how do you create a memorable message that you can share with the world, that the world remembers so that they can share it with your target audience? Right? That's the power of having a good and simple message that has clarity. People remember it and people share it with the right people. For example, for me, a lot of times the people I meet, I help people without college degrees find jobs. A lot of people I network with have college degrees, but because I've created a simple message that people remember, they share it with the right audience. They connect me with the right people. The other thing that we're going to go into, and this is the absolute key, you can have the best message, but if you don't know where your audience sits, if you don't know where the people who resonate with your message sit, you're going to struggle. That, just like Dina mentioned that they have an issue with Twitter. Maybe their audience does not exist there, or maybe their audience is really hard to find there. And that's why they're not getting traction. The beauty is there are so many platforms that there is a way to find an audience on every platform. Now, and then we're going to go into why we need it. The main reason, how to use that personal brand to get a new job, how to use it to get clients, how to use it to grow in your profession and be known and build authority. So Elisa, what do you want to add?
No, I think that makes sense. I mean, it seems like we're just putting, simple bullets out there, and it's super easy. Like, oh, just figure out how you stand out, create your message. Like, we understand that, and we empathize that it is going to take time for you to, like, first of all, figure out the content, like the message that you want to communicate to your network, and fine tune it, and then practice it, because it's going to be online and offline. But then that next step, which Janaya touched on here, is just figuring out the target audience that you're really landing with. And it could totally be different. Like, I think Eric's in the chat said a while back, like, don't be afraid of failure. And just quickly, like, there's a lot of people in Albert's List, the Facebook groups, that are very interested in this topic. So if you ever want to test or like, work through some of that, like sharing it, figuring out like target audience, like this is what I would like to communicate. There's a ton of people there that can like chime in with insight, but feel free to play around. And if you fail, like you're not hitting your target audience, then like feel free to start over again, right? Because you're in the early phases of it, you can totally do that.
Yeah. So any final questions for anybody in the crowd? More than happy to share. My personal brand has changed my life. It's gotten me into rooms I should not have been in. It's gotten me connected with people who I've never thought I would meet. And I've met like people who I've dreamed of meeting, like celebrities, people that I've watched growing up through the personal brand. And it's one of those things that I'm more than happy to share. And I'll cover it in the workshop. So thank you, each and every one of you. But yeah, let's bring on the questions.
Yeah, we'll stay on for a couple minutes. And the nice thing is, like, we've kind of gone through a lot of questions during the presentation. So don't feel like you need to squeeze it out. I'm seeing a couple of questions though, like tips on working through analysis paralysis. And I'll answer some of them in chat, but I'll also call out the ones that I think would be helpful to cover. So what's your like 1 minute. What's your thoughts there for Tori's
Oh,
question, Junaid?
yeah, analysis paralysis. I love this question. A lot of people fall into it. So I say perfect is the enemy of done, and done is better than perfect. I oftentimes we think of a personal brand and we think that we have to show up and like the best YouTuber and all that. And if you look at a lot of people who started, they started when they created content. They started on the phone. They started in that. And the fact is, you want to actually show out and focus on helping your audience. Your audience doesn't necessarily care that you show up on the best camera with the perfect advice. Just focus on adding value, making their lives easier. It's better that you show up and you show up okay enough as opposed to not showing up at all. Because if you don't show up, you can't improve. And also, if you realize that the act of showing up makes you better, that let's think about YouTube, the most competitive platform, all the biggest creators, they got better over time. They didn't start off with who they are today, but you need to go. So just realize that even if you look at athletes, right, they weren't the best when they were very good, but they weren't where they are today when they started. So don't let yourself stop. Just get yourself out there. You don't need to be perfect to get yourself out there. What is your favorite personal brand? Oh, this is I mean, I will say right now, I got to give Sam Altman. He has a strong personal brand in that he got fired from a company, and it was so strong that they were forced to fire the people who fired him and all that. So that's one personal brand that not maybe necessarily my favorite, but one that really stands out that I can name off the top of my head. Um, the early bird discount for anyone in the workshop is just $97. So feel free to take advantage of that. We want to make it affordable, and we want to make it something that uh, it's a no-brainer. Kelly mentioned some people love having a brand and building it. Not everyone. What are your thoughts on how to keep it lean yet effective? So here's the thing: you don't need to always put out so much content. The goal of a personal brand is does your target audience remember you for what you do? And I've seen some people that, especially when it comes to internal companies, that as long as your brand is known by the right person, you only need to get 1 to 2 people who know about you to get the opportunities you want. So there's always different strategies. There's no one right way. We're going to show into the different ways. And again, it depends on your goals, but I do think it makes sense for some people. They want to be lean and effective. I always say that we want to challenge you to get outside your comfort zone, but we don't necessarily want to go against your values or who you are. So we'll answer it and craft the strategy so that you can, go out there, still be on that thing for yourself without necessarily being like, the traditional brand. Yep. It's 1.4. So it's 3 total hours where we'll do a deep dive. And thanks for that book recommendation, Not Being Perfect When You Start. And then here's the other thing. You think of even like a Michael Jordan, right? You think about the best baseball players. They're not 100%. They make mistakes, they have failures, they trip up. Even the best public speakers have they make mistakes on stage. Someone was telling me I actually went to a charity event, a concert, and the singer actually had a cough and she had to pause. And you know what the audience did? They clapped. So think about it. You're in Lincoln Center in Manhattan, and you're on stage and you can't sing because your voice breaks and you have to pause. That's a pretty bad moment, but it's okay, right? At the end of the day, I'm not going to judge her for that. Everybody clapped, and the show is still amazing. So just realize that oftentimes, I actually spoke to someone who's like a singer, and she was like, "What if something bad happens? What if the worst thing happens?" And her therapist was like, "Well, the worst thing happens is if you have a heart attack on stage and you die, and that's probably not going to happen." So sometimes our brain tricks us into thinking like this terrible thing's going to happen, but more often than not, it's bigger in our heads. Most people, they're not even going to realize that it was a mistake, and as long as you show up, that's really what it's about. Yeah, no, and Manny Koshman in a van and now worth over $1 billion. That is definitely a personal brand in action. And so now I can't guarantee that any of you will become billionaires, but we'll make sure that you definitely get your money's worth out of it and you make a return on the workshop.
Awesome. I'll just go ahead. I mean, as we just look to taking final questions, I'll pop in everyone's LinkedIn. Please feel free to connect with Janai and myself if we can answer any questions. I'll put the workshop link again if you feel like this was helpful and it added value. Sorry we weren't able to share everything, but we'll go into a lot more in the two-part series. And with that, I know we went a little bit over and there was a couple of things at play. We're also going to be hosting an encore session. So that will be Monday, 2 to 3 Pacific. Feel free to join there as well or share with friends that you feel like this was helpful. We'll be going over similar content, but you know, some with a couple of nuances. But then the final, the live workshop is going to start that night, 6 to 7 Pacific. So it's a two-part series. So it'll be an hour piece starting next Monday. So awesome. Thank you all for your time. I'll stick around, pop the webinar in again. Thanks again.
Yeah, thank you, everyone. It was a pleasure doing this.
All right, everyone, thank you so much. We're going to go ahead and end the recording now. This will be available on our YouTube channel in a little bit, and we'll be following up with a recording. Thank you all so much, and we look forward to seeing you next Monday, either at the recap or at the beginning of our workshop. Thank you all. See you later. Bye.